What if I told you that the most financially responsible decision you could make might actually destroy the global economy? Right now, financial experts everywhere are screaming the same advice. Save more. Build your emergency fund. Cut unnecessary spending. But here's the paradox that keeps economists awake at night. If everyone followed this advice simultaneously, we wouldn't create a utopia of financial stability. We'd trigger an economic apocalypse. This is the paradox of thrift, and it's the most dangerous financial contradiction you've never heard of. Stay with me, because what you're about to discover will fundamentally transform how you perceive money, spending, and the invisible machinery that governs our entire civilization. Section 1. The fantasy. Let's conduct a thought experiment. Imagine waking up tomorrow morning, and somehow, through some inexplicable societal awakening, every single person on Earth decides to become financially responsible. No more impulse purchases. No more weekend shopping sprees. No more buying things we don't need with money we don't have to impress people we don't like. Sounds like paradise, right? Americans alone could redirect the $1.2 trillion they spend annually on non-essential purchases directly into savings accounts. Families would finally build those 6-month emergency funds. Credit card debt would evaporate. Financial anxiety would become obsolete. But here's where our utopian fantasy collides with economic reality. Your savings are someone else's income. Think about it. When you save $1,000 instead of spending it, that's $1,000 that a business doesn't receive. That business then can't pay its employees their full wages. Those employees can't afford to shop at other businesses. Those businesses experience declining revenues and begin laying off workers. This isn't speculation. This is the mathematical certainty of interconnected economies. The money you're hoarding to protect yourself is simultaneously destroying the financial foundation beneath everyone else's feet, including your own. Section 2. The paradox unveiled. This phenomenon was brilliantly articulated by economist John Maynard Keynes in 1936, who identified what he called the paradox of thrift. The paradox operates on a devastatingly simple principle. What's rational for an individual becomes catastrophic when practiced collectively. When one person saves money, they improve their personal financial position. But when everyone saves simultaneously, aggregate demand collapses. Businesses shutter. Unemployment skyrockets. And ironically, people become poorer despite having more money saved. It's a financial catch-22 that defies common sense. Let me demonstrate the cascading destruction with mathematical precision. Imagine you save $10,000 by canceling a home renovation. The contractor loses that income and lays off 2 workers. Those workers can't afford their mortgage payments. The bank experiences increased defaults. The bank restricts lending. New businesses can't secure startup capital. Unemployment rises further. This isn't theoretical. This exact spiral devastated economies during the Great Depression and the 2008 financial crisis. During the Great Depression, savings rates increased as terrified citizens hoarded cash. Consumer spending plummeted by 18% between 1929 and 1933. In response, GDP collapsed by 30%, unemployment reached 25%, and deflation spiraled out of control. The very behavior intended to provide security annihilated it. Section 3. The economic machinery. To understand why this happens, you need to grasp a counterintuitive truth. Modern economies require constant circulation. Money isn't like water in a reservoir, sitting peacefully until needed. Money is like blood in a circulatory system. It must flow continuously or the organism dies. Economists call this aggregate demand, the total demand for goods and services within an economy. When aggregate demand decreases because everyone's saving, the entire economic engine sputters. Here's what makes this particularly insidious. When economic uncertainty strikes, recession fears, pandemic disruptions, political instability, people naturally become more cautious with spending. They save more. But this prudent individual behavior accelerates the economic deterioration that prompted the caution in the first place. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy of economic destruction. Japan provides a haunting real-world example. Following their economic bubble collapse in the 1990s, Japanese citizens dramatically increased savings rates. The result? 3 decades of economic stagnation that economists now call the lost decades. Despite high savings rates, Japanese citizens didn't become wealthier, they became stuck in perpetual economic lethargy. The psychological dimension makes this even more fascinating. Behavioral economists have discovered that humans exhibit precautionary saving behavior during uncertainty. When people feel economically threatened, they save more aggressively, precisely when the economy needs them to spend. It's as if our survival instincts are perfectly calibrated to destroy the economic environment we're trying to survive within. Section 4. The global domino effect. Now let's scale this thought experiment globally and watch the civilization-level consequences unfold. Phase 1. Retail apocalypse. Within weeks, retail stores worldwide experience unprecedented declines. Department stores, restaurants, entertainment venues all face simultaneous revenue collapses. Mass layoffs begin. Phase 2. Manufacturing collapse. With no one buying consumer goods, factories reduce production. Supply chains, those intricate global networks, begin fragmenting. Unemployment spreads from retail to manufacturing to logistics. Phase 3. Financial system seizure. Banks, which depend on loan interest and transaction fees, see revenues plummet. They stop lending. Without credit availability, businesses can't operate. The credit freeze accelerates bankruptcies. Phase 4. Government crisis. As unemployment explodes, tax revenues collapse while social welfare demands skyrocket. Governments accumulate massive deficits. Some face sovereign debt crises. Phase 5. Deflationary spiral. With no demand, prices fall. Sounds good? It's not. Deflation incentivizes further saving. Why buy today when it'll be cheaper tomorrow? This creates a vicious cycle where economic activity approaches zero. The final stage? A global depression that makes the 1930s look modest by comparison. And here's the most disturbing part. In this scenario, your savings would become worthless. Bank failures would wipe out deposits. Currency devaluation would erode purchasing power. The money you hoarded for security would provide none. Section 5. The solution and deeper truth. So what's the solution to this paradox? The answer lies in understanding that economies require balance. The delicate equilibrium between saving and spending, between prudence and participation. Responsible personal finance absolutely includes saving, but it also includes strategic spending. The optimal approach isn't choosing between saving and spending. It's understanding when and how to do both. Economic resilience doesn't come from everyone saving simultaneously. It emerges from 1. Diverse economic behavior. Some people saving while others invest or spend maintain circulation. 2. Countercyclical policy. Governments spending during recessions when private citizens are saving, compensating for decreased private demand. 3. Productive investment. Saving money that gets channeled into productive investments. Entrepreneurship, education, innovation creates future economic growth rather than stagnation. 4. Psychological awareness. Understanding that short-term sacrifice might be necessary, but indefinite hoarding creates long-term poverty for everyone. The deepest truth here is philosophical. Individual rationality doesn't automatically produce collective prosperity. This is why economics is ultimately about human coordination, not just individual optimization. Your financial decisions exist within an interconnected web where your personal security depends on the economic health of the system, which depends on appropriate levels of spending and investment, not just saving. The dark side of money reveals itself here. The very behaviors that feel safe, hoarding, avoiding risk, minimizing expenditure, can paradoxically create the economic insecurity you're trying to escape. Conclusion and call to action. So the next time a financial guru tells you that saving is always virtuous, remember this paradox. Money isn't meant to be imprisoned in accounts. It's meant to flow, to create, to build, to circulate, always with wisdom, but never with paralysis. The question isn't whether you should save money. The question is, are you saving because you're building towards something, or are you hoarding because you're hiding from everything? That difference determines whether your financial behavior contributes to prosperity or participates in its destruction. Now, I'm curious, does this paradox change how you think about your own spending and saving habits? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if this video made you question everything you thought you knew about money, that's exactly the point of this channel. This is Dark Side of Money, where we explore the uncomfortable truths that make you wealthier, wiser, and just a little bit more paranoid about the financial system we all depend on. Subscribe if you dare to see money differently.